So with my first two wheelchair tennis tournaments only days away at this point, I'm going to share what I've been doing to prepare for them. So let's get into it. If you're new around here, my name's Kalvin and I have a form of muscular dystrophy called FSHD. And pretty much all that does is waste certain muscles in my body over time, and it affects my mobility. So now let's get into what I'm doing to prepare for my first wheelchair tournament. Up until this week, because of school holidays, I've been keeping up with my 2 sessions per week with my coach Joel, and we've been mainly working on serve +1 stuff, so serving and then hitting the first ball and sort of dictating the point from there, as well as sort of playing to my strengths a bit more and just going over some tactical things that I should be doing when I play matches, which has been really good. I've also tried to have as many hits as possible with friends or family, so mainly that's been with mum, so shout out mum. We usually have a hit once a week, and it's been really good for putting into practice some of the stuff that I've learned in my lessons with Joel. As I've been lucky enough to borrow the wheelchair that I'm using for the 2 weeks before the tournament, I've been trying to take it out as much as I can. So I've been going to a local netball court to wheel around a bit. I've been trying to build up a bit of endurance in my arms for wheeling around as much as possible, because I've never played a match that goes longer than about an hour. So for the first time, there's a possibility that matches will go for longer than that, as it's, I'm pretty sure, best of 3 sets. Maybe after 1 set all, it has a tiebreak. Either way, it's the longest amount of tennis in a chair that I'll ever have played, so that's exciting. But point being is that I want my muscles to not be super shocked when that does happen. I've been also trying to do some agility stuff, so going around cones and everything. My speed around the court is not where I'd like it to be, but I think I'm improving, so that's the only thing that really matters. I'm also doing a little bit of cardio at the gym just to keep the blood pumping. I saw online that some wheelchair players and just wheelchair athletes in general use that hand rower thing, which sort of mimics the movement of a wheelchair. So I did a bit of that. I've also hopped on the bike a little bit because it really tires me out quickly. Something I also like to do is walk around at least once a day, just to stay somewhat active in the lead up to the tournament, so I don't completely get gassed out. It's also nice to go outside, bit of fresh air, doesn't hurt anyone. Right, let's talk about rackets. So I started playing wheelchair tennis with the same racket that I played able-bodied tennis with, which is this one. It's a head speed MPA, and it's about 315 grams strung. And that might not mean a lot to people who don't play tennis, but that's, I'd say, pretty average-ish for regular tennis, and it was fine when I was playing. But since my shoulder strength has gotten a lot worse over time, and because I'm also using my upper body to propel myself around the court, I've had to make a bit of a switch. So I've been borrowing this racket, which is a Yonex V-Core Feel, and as I said, it's not mine, I'm borrowing it. I have to give it back very soon. So what I've done is I've ordered one. I found one online, luckily, and I've ordered it, and it should be here the day before my tournament. So fingers crossed that that works out. But what I like about this one is it's way lighter. I think it's about 260-ish strung, which is like noticeably lighter. It's very light, which some people would say is not great, but for me it works out well. It's really easy on my shoulder. It's a lot easier to move around. Because my grip strength is a little bit worse on my playing hand, it is easier to move around. It's easier to hold for extended periods of time, which is perfect. I love it. Another big thing is string tension. Now this one hasn't been restrung in quite a while, I'm told. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's quite loose compared to this one, which sounds like, I mean, that hasn't been restrung in ages either. But point being is that a lower tension, it gives you a little bit easier power. So the trade-off there is control. You're not able to control the ball as much and put it where you want to go, but I haven't noticed that to be a problem. I like it with the strings really loose. It also lets you spin the ball a bit more, I've noticed, which is sort of the main part of my game. I hit pretty high with a lot of topspin on my serve and my forehand and that kind of thing. So I found it amazing. So this is really ideal for me and I love it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that racket comes before the tournament. If not, I'm in a little bit of trouble. So we will see. This is the chair. It's cool and green and it's not mine. I'm borrowing it at the moment and I have been the whole time I've played wheelchair tennis. So thank you to that person, you know who you are. This is the chair I'll be using during the tournament and I'm currently still in the process of trying to get my own because it's quite an involved process. But yeah, so pretty much you just sit in it like a regular chair. Your feet go on this little foot plate thing. Show you. And then to strap yourself in, there's this strap. There's a loop. Loop goes in, strap goes into loop. Lock yourself in. And now you're securely in there so you can kind of move around. As with all tennis wheelchairs, the wheels are on a slant and that's called camber, I believe. And that pretty much just lets you turn sharper and keeps you more stable. You'll also notice there's 2 wheels at the front and 2 wheels at the back. That's also to just keep you stable. And so if you imagine the wheels weren't at the back, I could just tip backwards. So that's always nice. When I push, you see there's sort of a rim that goes around the wheel that you can put your hand on and move around. I sort of do a mix of both, so I'll hold the rim with my right hand while I'm holding the racket, which is arguably one of the harder parts when you first start playing, to hold the racket and the rim at the same time and push. And then with my left hand, sometimes I'll put my thumb on the rim, on the tire as well, just for a bit of extra grip. So yeah, that's the chair. Let's talk about gloves now. With wheelchair tennis, gloves are not a necessity. I'm just a huge baby and I got blisters when I first started. So instead of waiting for it to turn into a callus, I decided to glove up. So these are the first gloves that I got. They're pretty cool. They were, I think, $10 and they're supposed to be biking, like mountain biking gloves. So they've got a bit of padding here. You know, they're pretty form-fitting, I guess. And they were fine for a little while. And then I found these. You may have seen these before. These are for gardening. They're pretty good for wheelchair tennis, in my experience. They're super grippy, as you can see. Like, that is super grippy. So you can accelerate pretty quickly when you're moving the wheels. The only thing is sometimes they tend to grip a little bit too much and you stop suddenly, but I guess that's something you get used to. I think they're about $3, so, you know, not a huge investment, but they've been pretty good and I'm sticking with these for the time being. Another con of these is that they get really sweaty. So I don't know if you can see, but the lining in there, it's not too breathable. It's sort of just, your hand is in there getting wet. So something to keep in mind. Something that's worth thinking about when you get gloves for wheelchair tennis is that you don't want them to be too thick, because if they're too thick, you can't really feel the handle of the racket very well. So you can't really tell, you know, if you have more of a forehand grip or a backhand grip, it's hard to tell when there's too much thickness of the glove. So that's sort of an ongoing thing. I'm trying to find the perfect glove. But yeah, at the moment it's the Ansell High Flex gardening glove. I'll be honest, my diet hasn't been fantastic recently. I've started off strong, so I cook a nice breakfast with that egg wrap thing that I usually show on this channel. And then I'll have a protein shake, sort of mid-morning. And then lunch can either go one of two ways. It's either a salad and I'm Mr. Health Man, or I'll put something in the air fryer, like some vegetables, and then some protein or something just to make it a nice meal. Or I'll sort of forget about lunch and then snack on random pieces of anything, chocolate, crackers, whatever, until dinner. So that's not the ideal diet, so I'm trying to fix that a little bit, but I don't want too many moving parts in preparing for this tournament because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. It's not a Grand Slam, it's just my first little tournament, so at the end of the day, I'm just trying to have fun, but I am trying to eat a bit better generally, so that's something that I've been thinking about. Because I'm less experienced than some of the guys playing in the tournaments and I can't rely on straight power from my upper body like maybe some other people can, I'm trying to do as much as I can to, I guess, study the game. I'm trying to watch a lot of professional matches to try to mimic some of the stuff they do and some of the ways they play points. I like to watch the full unedited version and not just the highlights, because it shows you really every point, obviously. You can see what they do between points and all the dud points, like all the unforced errors and things, so you can work out how that happened. So it's good to study the whole game. It is a little bit of a longer watch, obviously, but I think it's more beneficial and I really enjoy watching it anyway. So I found that pretty helpful in learning how pros do it. I've also got a wheelchair sport book, which looks like this, which I mentioned in a previous video. And it's got a section on wheelchair tennis, which is ideal, as that's what I play. And there you go, wheelchair tennis. So yeah, it's got some general advice and just drills and movement patterns and that kind of thing. So I can just flick through that for a bit of knowledge. But yeah. So I'm very excited about the tournaments coming up. It should be really fun. And I haven't played a tennis tournament in a long time. Oh. I have no real expectations going into it either, as did some snooping around. And there's 2 Paralympians and a guy that played the Australian Open this year, and oh, that's horrific, and 2 of the top 5 juniors in the world. So, and then there's me, going in with 0 expectations, but I'm trying to reframe it in my mind from I'm gonna get smashed by these people to I get to play these people. I think it's kind of, you know, a privilege to play people of such a high level, and not everyone gets that. So I'm trying to reframe it as that. I guess, stupid. I'm trying to just have a lot of fun with it because I haven't played any comps yet, so that'll be a good time. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I'm just hitting with Mum at the moment. She's a good hitting partner. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but if you're not doing anything on the 10th to the oh, too good. The second tournament will be on clay, which is pretty hard to play on. I played on it the other day. Ooh. And it's super uneven. Sometimes your wheel is on the ground and the other one's in the air. So it's just freely spinning, which is fun. But I guess everyone has that issue to deal with. So I can't really complain about it. Oh, please go in. Ah, too good. I think my backhand is slowly getting better. Still not amazing, but at least it goes in sometimes now, which is a nice change. Ooh. Goodbye. So this video actually will come out on the last day of the tournament. So expect next week to have a video on my tournament experience and how I found all of that. So that's something to look forward to if you're interested in that. As always, thanks for watching, and if you're not doing anything, oh actually, this will come out after the tournament. Hopefully saw you there. Alrighty, bye.